Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Take Two podcast. We are here every Tuesday night, and we are your Frame Brothers. I am Jameson Frame, accompanied by Reed Frame. As always, we dive into all things football. Going to be doing something a little more fun than usual today. We're going to be doing our first early mock draft. We'll be doing probably a couple of these as we get closer to the actual draft, just kind of give our thoughts, opinions, um, kind of some fun takes on where people can go, some realistic ones, maybe some outlandish ones. I know we're probably going to get some people fired up with our decisions on this one, so I think this is going to be a really fun one. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave us a like if you like this video. If you didn't like it, leave a comment why you didn't like it. Anything that'll help us kind of get better for the future. So it was a fun weekend, recapping the weekend before we jump right into the mock draft. But NFL football was great. I mean, there was a couple blowout games. Those weren't great to watch. The Washington Commanders game was great. Came down to a field goal. Even the Packer Eagle game was close. Now, if you were here last week, I had the Packers pulling out that win. Did you get nervous at all? Did you watch that game? You were like,
I did
"Ooh,
watch that
Jameson might
game.
have been
I
onto
was
something."
I was never worried. Nah. The Packers didn't look good in my opinion. They were dropping like flies. There's a lot of questionable calls. As I follow the Packers actually pretty close because I don't like them, and of course we're from Wisconsin, where we don't like the Packers. We're not Packer fans, so I kind of like follow them as an arch rival. The one thing I questioned is last year in the draft you spent your first round pick on Jordan Morgan, a tackle out of Arizona, I believe. And when you had, I think it was three offensive linemen go down, he didn't touch the field once. So I don't know if Jordan Morgan was hurt. I don't know what was going on there, but I feel like if you had a first round pick, he should have touched the field there. In my opinion, he should have been a starter, but I'm not a GM for a reason. I'm not a coach for a reason, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't know the whole details on that either. I think he might have been hurt. I think he was playing earlier on in the season, and he either got benched or he got hurt. I'm not super familiar with the Packers organization, so um, no, there's some great games coming over to this coming weekend. Bills Ravens going to be the highlight of the weekend. That one should be a really good matchup. Some of the other ones might get out of hand. The point spreads are pretty big. Um, Something to keep an eye on. Look out for those Rams. I think they could beat the Eagles this week.
Really?
I do.
I
I
could
really
see it,
do.
actually. I could see it.
Yeah, I think the Rams are getting hot at the right time. I think the Eagles are a little overrated. I'm not a huge Hurts fan, so it's
I agree. Hurts did not, against the Packers, who didn't play well, Hurts did not look good. And with how good that Eagles offense line is, I would expect Hurts to be better. As much as I am a Hurts fan and as much as I think the Eagles are good, I do still have them beating the Rams, but I could definitely see the Rams pulling out a win.
no, I think it'll be a fun one to watch. So something to keep an eye on. We also have the national championship game coming this Monday, so that's something. Two things we'll be talking about next week: Ohio State, Notre Dame. I got Ohio State. I
I do too. I I think the world has Ohio State, right?
I think so too. Which could bleed an upset if the world's got Ohio State. That just yells upset.
Yeah. It's Ohio State, I think you just could say has the better roster. I mean, Notre Dame has been dealing with that every single game they've played. Hey, the other team's got a better roster and they've pulled it out somehow, some way. Uh, I think there's I don't want to call it a Cinderella story, but it kind of is. I mean, no one saw this coming, and I think that's kind of a definition of a Cinderella story. Um, I think their Cinderella story ends to Ohio State.
I think I agree. As much as I've liked Notre Dame's story and kind of seeing them run this, I think they hit a brick wall in Ohio State, and they are an absolute powerhouse. So
Yeah, they look very good. They got a lot of young talent, look good for the future as well.
absolutely. So enough on the last couple games. We're gonna dive into our mock draft. So I have the odd picks every other pick Reed has. So I start at the first pick, third pick, fifth pick. Reed has the second, fourth, sixth. You get the idea. So we'll bounce back and forth, kind of give our opinions on who they draft, why we think they could draft this player or should draft this player, give a little insight there, and then move on. So we'll sneak this whole thing in. So stay with us and let us know if you like who we pick for your team. So without further ado, I'll get it started. I have the Titans going first overall. Now, this organization, I took a couple things in mind when I was making this pick. it's going to shock a lot of people. The most common pick is Cam Ward, right? Everybody's taking Cam Ward to the Titans. He's got a lot of the skills that people want as a quarterback. I do not. The Titans just need to get better. They just need best player available at one, if not even try and trade out of this spot to accumulate more picks to a team that needs a quarterback. They have Will Levis. He's not the future. We know that he is below average startable for at least another year, like as like a bridge quarterback. My thought is they go quarterback with the first pick in the second round, so they avoid taking a quarterback here. And I think they just take best player available and they go grab Abdul Carter.
I knew it. I had my cursor already over it and everything.
So they take a good pass rusher because pairing him with Jeffrey Simmons is just going to be huge for that team. I really like him as a prospect. I think he's going to be a beast. It's maybe a hot take, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities.
I don't think it's a hot take at all. I truly think Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. A lot of people are saying, "Hey, what about Travis Hunter?" Travis Hunter won the Heisman. You're right. Yeah, Travis Hunter is a damn good player. We're not denying that. Abdul Carter looks like the next Micah Parsons. He looks like a Micah Parsons clone. Like honestly, go look at how Micah Parsons looked in a Penn State uniform, and then go look at Abdul Carter. They look the same. I don't think you could tell the difference if you didn't
Mhm.
see the last name on that jersey or if you didn't see the person. They look the exact same. I'm a big Abdul Carter fan. I think he's a menace off that edge. I truly believe he's the best player in this class, and I 100% agree that he could go to Tennessee. How likely it is, I don't really know. I could 100% see it.
So there you go.
So with him taking Abdul Carter, you're kind of right. Kind of threw off my draft a little bit, but not too bad. I did prepare for this. I knew this was coming. Um, so I'm going quarterback here for the Browns. I think you need to cut your
Uh,
ties with Deshaun Watson. I think you need to get rid of Deshaun Watson, turn to the future. If we wanted to get into a rebuild with the Browns, I would consider trading Myles Garrett. I mean, honestly, I'm full rebuild mode going in here. What can you think you could get for Myles Garrett? But I'm going quarterback here. I gave that away. And I do believe with how the combine's going to go and how everything's going to go, Shadur Sanders will jump over Cam Ward. So I'm going to go Shadur Sanders here.
so my thought process on the Browns at number two is I believe if the Raiders really want Shadur Sanders, right? So I feel like the Browns need to like almost target the Raiders and go, look, you need to come up here to get Shadur Sanders because either we're taking him or the Giants are going to take him at three. You're
Mhm.
not going to get your guy. So you need to come and leapfrog the Giants and come get him and give us, a boatload in return. So then the Browns, who can make it work with another bridge quarterback because they have a ridiculous contract that they got to eat with Deshaun Watson anyways. So I could realistic see the Raiders jumping up to two, the Browns jumping back to what is it, seven, six, jumping
Thanks.
back to six. And that's like the one trade that I really think is really possible that happens in this draft. Browns just get more value, more picks for the future, help them rebuild, draft a quarterback later in the draft. Maybe he's startable for him for a couple of seasons. They could also go get a bridge quarterback for a year, the Sam Darnolds of the world, Daniel Jones, somebody like that for 1 year, moving on like that. So, yeah, likely that they take a quarterback. The other thing to consider is Shadur Sanders might pull an Eli Manning if the Browns draft him and just refuse to play.
I think that's very exaggerated. Dion actually isn't going to do that.
For the
He's
Browns,
pro
though,
It's the Browns' way to draft a big name. I mean, look, Johnny Manziel. The Browns organizations draft big names and they don't work out. I'm not saying Shadur Sanders is going to work out. I don't think most of these quarterbacks in this class are going to work out. This is a very weak quarterback class. That's hence why we don't see them going in the top first pick, which is a majority of the first overall pick as a quarterback. It's a very weak QB class, but is a lot like the Browns to go take a big name QB and ruin his career. And I just think it's going to happen again with Shadur.
yeah, I could see it. Those are just my two thoughts on the Browns pick at number two. So it's just want to get those out there. So at pick three, Brian Daboll is drooling that Cam Ward is still on the board. He has never been able to draft his own quarterback to kind of mentor and kind of basically keep his job. He's always had to deal with Daniel Jones that he came into. So I think Brian Daboll just punches in the ticket for Cam Ward instantly if this scenario happens. I'm going to take Cam Ward for the Giants at three.
I I think that's an easy pick, right? Like you said, Brian Daboll, he wants that QB.
Mhm.
Cam Ward, another big name. I think he's the fan favorite. I think a lot of people like Cam Ward more than they like Shadur Sanders.
I
So
agree.
Giants fans will like that pick. Yeah, I think it's a great pick here. It's Cam Ward, man, Mr. Nonchalant himself. I think you hit this pick perfectly. I could 100% see this happening if the other two picks happen. Moving on to the Patriots, which are probably the team up here out of these first four that don't need a quarterback, and thankfully all quarterbacks are off the board for them. Looking at the board right now, I think it's a pretty easy pick for me. It's going Travis Hunter, right? I think it's Travis Hunter, Heisman winner, two-way player. New England, they don't need a corner as bad. They still could take a corner, and if he wants to play wide receiver, they do need a receiver pretty bad. So Travis Hunter, kind of a flex option there for him. I think it would be a great pick and just best player available there for the Patriots.
Fair enough. I think that's kind of one of the perfect fits right now. The Patriots are in need of both a corner and a wide receiver, so it almost works out great that he can kind of choose whichever side of the ball he wants, or play sometime on both for the Patriots. Another good receiver that if he plays a lot of receiver, Drake London could kind of grow with. So like the fit, like the pick there. So can't argue there. Now to the Jaguars at five. One of their biggest needs, their defense was atrocious,
It's bad.
specifically their defensive backs. I think they go and grab Will Johnson to kind of solidify a corner spot for them and kind of build for the future. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Jaguars, take Will Johnson at corner and kind of first corner off the board.
Yep, well, is it the first corner off the board?
Well, okay, yeah, fair enough. Full-time corner, I guess.
Yeah, Will Johnson is the best. How do I say this? The best corner in this class. I'm not count Travis Hunter is just we're gonna call him an athlete, all right? You know, when you're like scouting in NCAA and you get athletes, Travis Hunter's an athlete. Will Johnson is the corner. I think he's the best pure corner. Great man coverage. He's a great pick for the Jaguars. Is it too early to say they're new Jalen Ramsey?
Different type of player, but same impact on the team, I think is
Mhm.
what you're getting at. So yeah,
Yeah,
I would go with that.
I think so. I have the Raiders now, and now this one's a little bit of a harder pick for me. They have
It
Brock
gets
Bowers.
gets
This gets
interesting here.
a little interesting here. The Raiders aren't a good team. Not a great team. Best player on their team is probably a rookie in Brock Bowers, maybe Max Crosby, but there's rumors about him leaving. So that's another big problem. No quarterback on the board there to go get him. There could be trades up. We're not doing any trades in here. If you when in doubt, just go get another weapon on offense. I'm going T Mac here. Great receiver, big receiver. I'm a big T Mac fan. Uh, yeah, I think it's a very confusing spot here for the Raiders. I think they take best offensive player available instead of O line, but I mean they don't really need O line help that bad. Their O line is actually a decent offensive line, so they go and get another weapon for their hopefully soon to be good quarterback if they go get one next year or something. But quarterback's the biggest need, and they don't have one available, so they're just going to go to get another offensive weapon.
No, I think that's fair. Uh, Jets would have loved to have McMillan fall to them with losing Devonta Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson potentially getting traded for a rebuild. There's some rumors going on about that. They're going to need some weapons. Doesn't happen in this situation. So I think they go to one of their other biggest needs, which is getting after the quarterback. So they're going to need some pass rushers. Hassan Reddick doesn't look like he's coming back. It looks like he's going to hit the open market. So they're going to need a Hassan Reddick type player to replace him in the rotation in this defensive line. So this one might be a bit of a reach in some people's minds, but I'm going to go James Pierce out of Tennessee to go solidify that pass rush for him.
I love that pick. I'm a massive James Pierce fan. If you look at other teams' ratings, he is actually pretty high on this website here. This is NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator. Other websites, he's ranked really low, and that is because he got double teamed an insane amount this year. James Pierce did not put up a very productive season in college. As soon as the combine rolls around and he shows his athletic ability and how good he really is when he's not being double teamed, his draft stock will skyrocket, in my opinion, and he will be one of the best edge rushers in this class. I truly think he's the second best edge rusher in this class.
I would agree.
Love, love that pick for the Jets. I think it's perfect fit. He will go get that quarterback. I love that pick.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. Carolina here. Now I did hear a TikTok or something. I think you might have sent it to me. The joke about, hey, let's go get Ashton Genty. We now have Jonathan Brooks, Chuba Hubbard, and Ashton Genty. Let's go sign the Army head coach and run wing T.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Now, as much as I would love to see that, that is not realistic, so I will not be going that route here. Um, See, there's a little hope in me saying, hey, they do need a DB. And I kind of want to
Mm,
do something a little crazy here in
this
Malachi
would
Starks.
that would be interesting.
Now, I am a very big fan of Malachi Starks. I think he's extremely athletic. I could argue one of the most athletic players in this class. I think when he tests at the combine, again, he's going to skyrocket with how athletic his athletic ability will be shown. Right now, he's ranked at 12 on this site. I think he could definitely go up to where it would be reasonable for Carolina to take him, and that's going to be my pick this year. This pick.
Wow, Starks going to the Panthers. I actually wondered where he was gonna fall, if you were gonna take him, or if he was just gonna kind of land in my lap, and I was just gonna be forced to take him with one of my teams. So like interesting. You think he goes top 10?
I'm a big fan of Malachi Starks. I like a lot of these safeties in college coming out this year. We've touched on Caleb Downs as well. I'm a big fan of Caleb Downs. I think that's his name, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I
It's
know
Josh Downs' his brother, Caleb Downs. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
You're right.
I messed that up last time and I was second guessing. It's Caleb Downs.
Yep,
Big fan of those two safeties. So I'm taking Carolina Malachi Starks.
fair enough. Saints have a need on the offensive side of the ball, as well as an aging defensive line on the defensive side of the ball. There are two great trenches picks here. I think regardless, this pick will be trenches. Just to start off there, it's going to be either offensive line or defensive line. It's just a matter of which one you like more. I feel like they have a dire need for to solidify this offensive line more than the defensive line. Jordan Cameron is still playing at a high level. They have Brian Brzee. They have some younger pieces, kind of on the edge pieces that play defensive end. I think they can get by at least another year. Plus, the edge class is way deeper than the offensive line class this year. So I think the Saints can kind of push off that need to the second round, maybe the third round, get a guy there. So I think they go Will Campbell with the ability to slide into guard if they need him to kind of solidify multiple positions if they need him to swing tackle slash guard position. So the versatility, he'd be the first tackle off the board for the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with that. Me personally, I think it's that flexibility that makes Will Campbell so good. I think
Yep.
Calvin Banks is the better tackle. I do
Yep.
believe Calvin Banks is the best tackle in this class. It's just Calvin Banks. He honestly could go to guard if he wanted to. I think he has the skill set to go to guard. They're just not going to move him to guard because he is a way better tackle. Will Campbell is a amazing tackle, don't get me wrong, but he would be honestly a better guard in my opinion. So I think that's why the Saints are going to take him because he has that flexibility. But Kelvin Banks, I do believe, is the best offensive lineman in this class.
100% agree.
Yeah. To the Bears here, I'm faced with a little bit of a problem here. Um, Mason Graham still being there is definitely tempting.
It's interesting, isn't it? He just kind of
I could
slid down
I,
there.
I could sit there and be like, hey, let's just go take best player available here. But but I'm also a big Malik or Makeel Williams fan. He's a great
Wow.
edge rusher. I'm going Mason Graham. I think
He's just
it's
kind of
just best.
there.
He's
Yeah.
he's there. He's fell into the Bears' lap. He's an amazing player, great interior guy, and definitely a game changer for him. So I think they're gonna go Graham.
Yeah, that one's tough. Um, what do you do, right? I mean, he's just in your lap. Even if you wanted somebody else, just the value right there is just too immense not to take. So the 49ers, I was wondering if he would slide to the Niners because the Niners would love to have another rotational piece on that defensive line for them, and they would have loved to have him. He's not there, so I think they jump to the defensive side of the ball, or sorry, the offensive side of the ball and kind of shore up the tackle position. Trent Williams is not getting any younger. They could draft his replacement similar to what the Jets did with Olufashanu, the Saints did with Tafunga, I think is his name. What the
Yeah.
Chiefs did with I can't remember all their names off the top of my head. You know what I mean? Everybody
Yeah.
kind of drafted a tackle a year early, let him sit, develop, played him maybe at right tackle or a guard if they needed him to. I think the 49ers do the same thing. Banks is just kind of sitting there for them. They can develop him. He's the best tackle in the draft. Going to be the long-term solution at left tackle for them. Kelvin Banks just kind of lands at the 49ers.
Love it. In my mock draft, I had Kelvin Banks going to the 49ers. Um, yeah, like you said, Kelvin Banks is the best tackle in this class. Whether he plays his first year or not, he is going to make an impact on this team. I think it's almost inevitable that he doesn't make a or that he does make an impact on this team.
I know what
Kelvin
you're
Banks is
saying.
an amazing tackle. I think he's like we said, best tackle. It's a great pick.
Yep.
Cowboys. Now you've probably seen it in the media. Everyone's going Ashton Genty here. I think as much as I hate it, I don't like the Cowboys. I think Ashton Genty's going to the Cowboys. I mean,
It just makes too much
it
sense.
makes an insane amount of sense.
They need a running back too bad. He's kind of the first opportunity down the board that like makes sense for running back to go. Plus, Jerry Jones isn't shy about taking running backs early. He hasn't been. He kind of just goes and gets his guy. It just makes too much sense. I can't argue against it. So I think it's a good pick.
Uh-huh. Dolphins.
I got the Dolphins at 13. Their linebacker spot and their pass rush spot are a big need for the Dolphins. I think they get a guy who can do both. I think they go out there and get Jalen Walker. He can play off ball linebacker. He can also rush the passer. I think that's a great pickup for the Dolphins at 13.
It's an amazing pick. Jalen Walker, as much as I want to say it, I'm gonna say he is one of the most underrated players in this class. Just by his versatility. Him going at 13, it's actually a little higher than I had him going, but I have him going right around there. So versatile. He could play edge if you wanted him to. He could play middle linebacker. You could stick him in at strong safety if we're being honest here. Jalen Walker is a great player. Goes to the Dolphins. I think that's going to shore up that front seven for sure.
Yep.
Great flexible player. Love that pick. Kind of mad about it because I had him going a little bit later and wanted him for my pick so I could look smart, but you got him. I'm going with, do I want to get a little wacky?
This is where it gets interesting for me. So it gets tough. Stick to the draft board, man.
All right,
Your draft board, not this draft board.
Tyler Warren.
To the
Tyler
Colts. Interesting.
to the Colts. I'm a massive Tyler Warren fan. I think he's the best tight end in this class. He was amazing at Penn State. You could argue one of probably their whole offense. I mean, Tyler Warren kind of put that offense on his back, passing game wise. Um, Great tight end. Colts need a tight end. Anthony Richardson, there was a big confusion there. He started doing pretty well. Tyler Warren can block too. He's a dog in the passing game. I honestly think he becomes Anthony Richardson's favorite target.
I did not see that one coming. I'm not going to lie to you. Falcons are going to take edge no matter what. They're just going to take the best edge player off the board. They need edge so bad. They have for the last like 2 years and just have been kind of pushing it off. So Mikael Williams is just going to kind of fall to them. Luckily, I thought you were going to kind of take Mikael Williams or a tackle with the Colts. So I thought they were going to have to get a Nick Texas A&M pass rusher, Grant, some other defensive linemen. So Mikael Williams, great value for the Falcons here. They need an edge rusher bad.
I agree. I completely thought about Williams there for the Colts. It was between Williams and Warren for me. I went Warren because I thought it was a better pick. I think it's more fun too. So
No, that's fair.
Arizona. Now Arizona to me is like, hey, Luther Burden is still up there, but you have Marvin Harrison, right? Do we really need to go get back-to-back receivers in the first round? I don't think so. Part of me says, hey, let's go tackle here. Hey, let's go edge here. But I think they are still looking for a decent defensive lineman. So I'm going, do I? No. Eh. Yeah, we're going Kenneth Grant. I like Kenneth Grant. I like those Michigan duo defensive linemen.
Oh, you went defensive line, Kenneth Grant. All right.
I like Kenneth Grant a lot. Um, is he better than Mason Graham? No. Is he pretty close? Yes. I think Kenneth Grant is very close to Mason Graham. I think Arizona, ever since J.J. Watt left, their defense line has been kind of mediocre. I think this guy definitely shores it up, if not makes him big impact. So I think Kenneth Grant would be a great pick here.
Interesting. That leaves me in a very interesting position here. Um, this is not how I expected it to go. There are more offensive tackles on the board than I was expecting at this point. The Bengals need offensive tackles bad. They also need defensive backs pretty bad. But I think the offensive tackles are too great to pass up. Strictly talking for the left tackle position, they got Amarius Mims last year to kind of shore up the right tackle position. Mammoth of a dude. I think he could be a solid right tackle for them for a long time. You have Orlando Brown on the left side of the line, whose contract is coming up and who hasn't been able to stay on the field all as much as you'd like him to be. I think they go out and they get the best tackle on the board now. Now he was hurt this year. Ohio State, Josh Simmons, I think could potentially be their long-term answer at left tackle for the Bengals.
An interesting pick. Josh Simmons is a great tackle. Like you said, injured. I think he's a great pick. Going here to the Seahawks. Now, I feel like me and you are a little more educated on what would happen in this pick just because we're Seahawks fans. Hey, it's our team. Like we're a little biased. I have done a lot of research going into this pick. What do the
I'm
Seahawks
excited to hear.
what do the Seahawks like to do a lot? Or what did Pete Carroll like to do a lot with his running backs? Run the ball. Who is the best run blocker in this draft class? His name is Cameron Williams.
Oh,
Cameron Williams goes out to play right tackle for the Seahawks. Amazing run blocker. Love Cameron Williams. He was the duo with Kelvin Banks, and you saw that Texas line. It was an amazing Texas line. Me and you talked about that blitz that they picked up.
yep, that was
He
crazy.
helped. He helped pick up that blitz. If there's anything I, as a Seahawk fan, that I want to see stop is Geno Smith being sacked on third down from a blitz. So Connor Williams, come teach our offensive line how we can pick up those blitzes, man. Please. This is a cry out for help. I'm a big Connor Williams fan. Like I said, an amazing run blocker. He mauls people. If you go look at his run blocking in college, he was a pancake machine. Big Connor Williams fan, and I know you did not see that one coming.
I did not. I'm not a huge Cameron Williams fan. I think he's a little bit raw. He's got a lot to learn.
He's
He's
definitely
got the
wrong.
potential there for sure, but he's just kind of he needs somebody to groom him. So it's not my favorite pick only because it's going to be probably at least a year or two before he kind of hits his stride and like is like a really good tackle. Early on, he's going to struggle, I think, quite a bit making the jump. So that's my only thing I don't like about him. I think he has the potential to get there, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Just going over that topic, there's other tackles. I know. Ursary is a huge pick by Seattle fans.
Yep.
My problem with Ursary is he didn't really play any top rushers. Connor Williams is versed against a top rusher. The other person I considered is Wyatt Millum. I'm actually a big fan of Wyatt Millum. I think he's going to be a great tackle. Same thing with him is he's not tested at all. Ursary is kind of tested. Wyatt Millum is not tested. He was an amazing player for Western Michigan. Like if he was at Ohio State doing this, he'd be better than Kelvin Banks. But I don't think he would be able to do it at Ohio State facing better competition. So that's why I didn't pick him. So I went Connor Williams because
Milliam's
he's
also
tested.
a 4 year starter too.
He's a
He's got
four-year starter
tons of
for West
experience.
Virginia. Yeah,
Yep.
he is an amazing experience. And he thing with Milam is he doesn't get hurt. He is a four-year starter and he played almost every single down. That is something that did attract me to him. It's just that he wasn't tested against an elite edge rusher. That's the only reason I didn't pick him.
I think it's fair. No hate there. Buccaneers on the board at 19. Similar to the Falcons, the Buccaneers weren't able to get a lot of pressure just on their own without sending blitz help. I think they need to get some guys that can help them get some pressure. Um, and underrated guy for me coming into this draft. I think is going to skyrocket up some boards. A lot of people don't know him just because he went to a smaller school. Mike Green out of Marshall, I think is the type of guy that the Buccaneers would like. He's kind of a high motor kind of guy, kind of a smaller tweener kind of back or a defensive lineman, but he can get after the pass rush, sure.
Now, I didn't know you even knew about this guy. Big Mike Green fan over here. I'm cheering for this guy all the way out of Marshall. I honestly don't think anyone knows about him. This guy's quick. This guy is reminds me a lot of Chop Robinson's get off. He's a
Yep.
very quick get off. Like you said, a little undersized, but he uses it to his advantage. He gets off you quick. If you don't get hands on him, it's like a blur, and it's a hard pass rush to defend. Are you going Mike Green here?
Yeah, Mike Green of the Buccaneers. Yeah, I like Mike Green. I just recently
All
came
right.
up on him, and I think he's gonna skyrocket up some draft boards after the combine because he's gonna test out extremely well. I think.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so Denver here. I think they go offense, right? And I think they go wide receiver.
Yeah, Luther
Now,
Burden just sitting there, or did you go somewhere else?
Luther Burden just sitting there. But I'm a big Emeka Ibuka fan.
Really? Or Loveland? Loveland was there too.
Loveland was there. Loveland, Loveland. Oh, you're talking. Sorry,
Tight
I
end, Loveland.
yes, I'm sorry. I was thinking wide receiver, and that's my fault.
So
Because
I
like,
was thinking, so you're going to Buka though?
I want Ibuka, yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking this is probably the ideal landing spot for Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren is probably the
Oh,
most Taysom Hill-esque player we've seen in a while, and who originally found Taysom Hill and made him who he is,
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. So I think Sean Payton would love to get his hands on a young Taysom Hill 2.0 and just run it back again.
The
So
reason
very,
why, what the reason I went Ibuka here is because he kind of fits the build of the Michael Thomas and who coached Michael
yeah,
Thomas,
yeah, fair enough,
Sean
fair enough. I
Sean
like the
Payton.
comparison.
So I like how whenever we talk about the Broncos, I feel like we always are like, "Hey, Sean Payton, Sean Payton, Sean Payton. Can Sean Payton make Bo Nix work?" I feel like
He
every
is the
time
team. I mean,
it's true. I mean, he made that defense somehow. He brought this team to the playoffs. I don't
that
know
was
how.
crazy what he did to that defense.
Nah. But I think Emeka Ibuka is the most like Michael Thomas out of these guys on the board. Luther Burden is a slot receiver that, hey, give me the ball, I'll do my work after the catch. Kind of like a Golden Tate-ish receiver. I'm not saying he's as good as Golden Tate. I think he's better than Golden Tate if I'm being honest. Um, Emeka Ibuka is the Michael Thomas, like bigger guy, still kind of quick, a route runner, a really good route runner. And I think that's a Sean Payton type wide receiver. So I think they go Ibuka.
That's fair. Here's where the Steelers get interesting.
Yeah.
I if anybody can get in the mind of Mike Tomlin and let me know what they're gonna do here, please, because I don't know if anybody can. They could go so many different directions with this pick. Edge rusher is not a huge need just because they have a great rotation there. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig has been doing great for them. So I think they stay away from edge rusher. They could always add more interior defensive line help. They also need help on the back end of the defensive side of the ball. Now, that being said, this is the first team coming down the list that I could see taking the second running back off the board as well. They don't have a
Oh.
running back under contract other than Jalen Warren, who's a restricted free agent going into next year. So they could get their pick of the litter at 21 out of any of the running backs.
Now, if anybody that's not doesn't know or is oblivious or maybe living under a rock, this running back class is the best running back class we may have ever seen. Um, there's an insane amount of running backs in here. I mean, if I scroll all the way down, there's people I know down here. Antonio, oh my Lord, Brown. I'm sorry about that. Brown's there. There's people down here. I'm a little past my level now. But I mean, you got Devon Edwards, you have Jaquez Hunter, Taj Brooks, Trevor Etienne. This running backs class, there's going to be people that could start on a team that are going in the fifth round.
It, it's it's crazy deep. I think I have two picks here, and I don't know which one I like more for the Steelers, just because I don't know what they would do.
Running back is interesting. I didn't have him taking a running back at all.
I don't know if they will, but this is the next team that I could see doing it. Like they have the biggest need at running back. Plus, Mike Tomlin's like, hey, I'll go get my guy. I have no problem going to draft a running back. Right? He doesn't care.
He's Mike
It,
Tomlin. He does what he wants.
instead, I think they go the opposite spectrum that nobody thinks of, and I think they go out and get Jalen Monroe.
What?
I think they draft Jalen Milroe to be their quarterback of the future at 21.
Whoa. Okay, I did not see this coming at all. I am lost in the sauce now. I don't know what to do. Okay. Jalen Milroe off the board at 21.
Can he
Chargers
pick it
up.
2.0?
Can he pick? Okay.
Just because of where he
Chargers.
was drafted, not comparing player style
Oh,
or
yeah,
hype or
yeah,
anything like that.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Chargers here. They need edge. They also need a wide receiver.
That they do.
And Luther Burden has dropped. And as much as I want to say, hey, they do need edge pretty bad here because Khalil Mack is a free agent. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. I think they're going to let him walk. They have to take Luther Burden here. I mean, now the Chargers went from a bad receiver core to now Lad McConkey, Luther Burden, and Quinton Jotson. I cannot speak
Johnston.
today. Johnston. That's a pretty good young receiver core with Justin Herbert throwing the ball. That wide receiver core, that offense is looking scary. They still need a running back, but hey, what do you think they're going to do in the second round? Is they're going to go get a running back, and all of a sudden this offense is looking scary.
A lot of running backs. A lot of running backs there.
Yeah. So I think Luther Burden's the pick here.
Packers are tough. They never give their offense help in the first round. They just like refuse. I don't think this is the year that's going to change. Their cornerback room is depleted. Jameer Alexander, Jair, not Jameer, is questioning on if he's going to return. Eric Stokes hasn't turned out to be great. I think they go out and get a corner, and I think Benjamin Morrison is that guy.
I agree with you for the corner position. I don't agree with you with the player.
No, who would you
I mean, it's my next pick here. I think we get back-to-back corners here.
really
I go
go
Siobhan
on
Ravel.
corners?
I think Siobhan Ravel is the best corner, or not the best corner, is the second best pure corner in this class.
You think the Vikings pass up running back here?
Yeah,
Really?
I think Sean Ravel is an amazing player. I'm super high on Siobhan Ravel. Super athletic guy, super tall. I think he's 6'3". I think he's projected around like a 4'4", 40. Quick, great recovery speed. He does have some injury problems. I think he's coming off a torn ACL, which is definitely a little red flag. But when he's on the field for East Carolina, he was an amazing corner, and I think he's better than Benjamin Morrison.
I don't know much about those two corners. It was kind of a crapshoot for who I was going to take there for the Packers. I got to wait and see the combine and kind of watch some film on those two guys. That was my least confident pick out of all mine. Did I guess Milrow was kind of my hottest take just because
Yeah,
you never know with Tom, and I could definitely see him just snagging a quarterback and shocking the world.
Tomlin does what he wants, so
It's
I
not
can
what
see.
I would do if I was a Steelers, but I could just see him doing some outlandish something like that.
Excites the fans, you know. Like I
It
said,
does.
he does what he wants, and he still gets a winning record. So let Tomlin cook, I
We're gonna have
guess.
some Steelers fans rolling us in the comments.
Well, I mean, who else do they take there? I mean, I can't scroll back. That's dumb. But
Probably corner, probably either
you think
Ravel or Morrison to pair with Joey Porter, kind of lock down the cornerback room. That would
I
be my pick.
I agree. Yeah.
It's what they need
Yeah.
the most.
You have the Vikings taking running back though? You said that?
Probably Hampton.
Hampton?
Yeah,
Hampton? Hampton's a workhorse guy. He's right
what
there.
they need.
I'm not gonna say he's right there with Ashton Genty, but he's a very good guy. Just touching on this running back class. I think I've mentioned this before. There's so many good running backs in here that they're gonna hurt each other. It's
I think
inflation.
they're gonna push the whole running back draft back instead
Hmm.
of so many running backs getting picked early because there's so many. I think teams are gonna be like, well, I can get one later, and they just
Supply and
push
demand.
everything back.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to the second round, and I got Amari Hampton, Caleb Johnson, the Ohio State duo, Cam Scat. I got Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon. It's just it's gonna keep going down.
There's going to be a
It's
lot of running backs taken in the second round. A lot of them.
I mean Dylan Sampson, Phil Maffa as a Clemson homer. Phil Maffa is a dog, by the way. If you don't
Where's
know him, go
where's the Kansas kid? Can't think of
Devin
his name
Neal.
off the top of my head.
Devin Neal.
Yeah, Devin Neal.
Yeah, he's up there.
Underrated guy.
I'm a big Devin Neal fan. I've touched on Travion Henderson. I think he's going to
He looks
the
really good.
I think he's going to the Broncos because he's an Alvin Kamara-ish guy.
We just compare all players to previous Sean Payton players.
Like that's what I'm
Tyler
saying.
Warren, Taysom Hill, Abuka, Mike Thomas, Trevon Henderson. Who'd you compare him to? Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara.
Just he only takes people that remind him of his previous people. Bo Nix, Drew Brees.
Like it's true though.
It
Like
is kind of true though. Yeah, you're not wrong.
and watch us go 100% on what the Broncos pick.
That'd be crazy. I still don't trust Sean Payton in fantasy. He has three running backs on his team. Any given week, you couldn't predict which one's going to get the most carries if your life depended on it.
100% agree.
That dude's rotating running backs like like they're nothing. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that is our mock draft. Definitely tell us what you think. Maybe make your own mock draft and tell us what you had if Jalen Milrow was going in the second round. Well, I thought Jalen Milrow was going in the second round. I even when we were looking at this website where before this mock draft, I was like, why is Jalen Milrow so high? People like this guy right
People
over
like
here.
me.
People like this guy who takes him 4 years too early. Uh,
Didn't say it was something I would have done. I'm just saying that's something I could see Mike Tomlin do it.
but like Jalen Milrow, so third quarterback off the board. Who's after Jalen Milrow? Dylan Gabriel,
Quinn Ewers and Jackson
Quinn
Dart
Ewers.
probably are the tops. That's what I mean. They
It's
if
quarterback
they want to
class.
get their guy, they kind of got to go get him.
I heard some reporter, I think it was Colin Cowherd, he said that the number one quarterback, whether it's Cameron Ward or I just call him Cameron Ward, Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders, were in last year's draft class, they would be like the seventh quarterback taken off the board.
It's a depleted quarterback room this year. This reminds me of the Kenny Pickett year.
Yes, yes.
Like they're not good quarterbacks, and they probably won't pan out. But teams are going to be like they're going to talk themselves into the quarterbacks because they're just so desperate.
I agree. The thing about what happens when you don't have a good quarterback class is the other positions are deep. And we're seeing
Yeah,
that in our edge rushers and in our running backs this year. If you're in a dynasty league and you need a running back, now is the year. Go stash five of them. Give me Devin Neal, Quinshon Judkins,
yeah,
Travion Henry. Go get five.
because at
Trade them.
least two of them are going to
Chop
pan
them.
out.
We've touched on the Ohio State receivers. Go get Abuka. You got a 20% chance he's going to pan out. Like, Jeremiah Smith's coming in. Tank for Jeremiah Smith if you're in a dynasty league and your team's just bad. Go tank for Jeremiah Smith. I promise you he will work out in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, disclaimer: we only went 1 through 24. I forgot to say this before we started. We only went 1 through 24 because those are the only
guaranteed
draft
picks
order
locked
that's
in.
set. Those
Yeah.
as the playoffs continue, obviously more teams get locked into their spots. So, if you stayed to this point and you're disappointed that we didn't get to your team, I apologize for not saying that earlier. But
I don't apologize. Your team is
appreciate
still
you staying with
playing.
us and watching.
Your team is still playing. You're lucky for that. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You
You
get
don't
to
have
watch
apologies
your
for me anymore.
team.
Sorry.
Yeah, you get to watch your team still play. Coming from a guy or guys whose teams don't play anymore, this is what we get to look forward to. We get to look forward to the draft and what our team's going to do. You still get to cheer on your team. I don't apologize for that if you watch this entire video. Thank you for watching, though. I appreciate that.
No, we appreciate all of our followers and listeners, people that have been with us since the beginning. We love doing this. We love doing it for you guys. We hope you enjoy it. So, thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
big thank you. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this mock draft. Like we said, we appreciate you guys always watching, coming back, giving us feedback. Again, I hope that we can do this again. We'll probably do this again once the draft order is fully in stock. We might even have like a 7th round mock draft coming in at you. if we really want to get
Oof,
sweaty with it.
oof. Maybe 2 rounds max. I don't know if I'll know 7 rounds worth of players.
Oh, we might have to do a seven rounder.
I'm no college scout, dude.
You could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the first 32 picks.
But with that, there will be more mock drafts coming your way. This podcast is going to start going towards off-season stuff now as the season comes to a close. We'll still talk about college football. Actually, technically, we'll talk about this college football next year, and that might be about it because that's when the Natty will be done. Then we'll talk about playoffs, Super Bowl, and then we'll move on to off-season free agency,
Free
coordinator
agents.
moves,
Yep, yep,
coaching
yep.
stuff. If you're a true football fan, you could say, hey, that might be one of my favorite parts of this season is when teams are moving people around. That's one of my favorite parts is the draft. I love the
Sure.
draft. Um, I'm getting excited. Football is an all year round sport. It's not just in the fall. It's the best way to explain football. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good. Peace out, everybody.